Welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a deep dive into what is honestly an absolute masterclass in visual storytelling, the Great Houses of Cyan. You know, through this incredibly intricate, highly structured system of heraldry, architecture, and color, this realm tells us literally everything we need to know about its shifting powers, its deadly politics, and its long history. Think of it like the ultimate form of ancient corporate branding. We're going to decode this entire world, step by step.
Okay, let's dive into this. When you look at the Tabula Heraldica, this massive interconnected family tree of crests, it instantly establishes the epic, geopolitical scale of this world. Just by taking in this magnificent compendium, you can see the whole hierarchy and genealogy of the noble houses mapped right out. And here's the thing, every single choice of color, every mythical beast, every Latin phrase, it's all a deliberate declaration of identity and power.
So that brings us to the big, central question for this explainer. How does a dynasty of pirates transform into a kingdom of holy royals? I mean, that is a massive leap in status, right? Well, to figure that out, we have to look really closely at the evidence they left behind in their colors, their crests, and their mottos.
Let's start our thematic tour right at the top with Section 1, the Crown of Cyan, House Cyan.
Now, what's really interesting about this coat of arms is how brilliantly it visualizes their transformation from seafaring outlaws into legitimate kings. It's divided perfectly into light blue and red, featuring this golden three-masted galley resting on silver waves. But the real key? It's what sits right above that ship, the royal crown. They aren't hiding their naval pirate origins at all, they're elevating them. And if you look at the sides flanking the shield, you see two golden griffins. Those symbolize vigilance, kingship, and, most importantly for them, divine protection.
Their Latin motto, Ex Maria Regnum, which means from the sea, the kingdom, is basically their core philosophical thesis. House Cyan is openly acknowledging that, yeah, the unpredictable sea gave them their raw power, but it's the crown and the divine approval it represents that actually grants them true authority. Among the common people, there's even a saying, what the waves gave, the crown keeps.
You can actually see this transformation physically cemented in their architecture too. The Royal Palace of Cyan is this breathtaking blend of maritime tradition and ecclesiastical grandeur. You've got these maritime blue-tiled roofs and rope-inspired columns honoring their pirate past, but then they're seamlessly paired with grand Gothic chapels and imposing red stone walls. In fact, they built the Cyanidae Great Church, literally the largest cathedral in Cyan, entirely with papal blessing. It is, quite literally, a pirate captain's fortress transformed into a divine royal court.
But the crown isn't the only source of power here. Let's shift our focus to the massive economic engines of the realm. In Section 2, Empires of Wine and Sugar, Cuppers and Beaumont. First up, we have House Cuppers, the ancient wine aristocracy of Dorwinion. And man, this visual identity just screams wealth and defiance. They proudly display imperial purple and silver, featuring a golden goblet literally overflowing with crimson grapes. And notice those two silver lions acting as supporters? They even have grapevine manes. The lion represents pride and rebellion. These guys are notoriously independent. They hold utter contempt for traditional authority like Gondor, and their banners are absolutely never lowered before Gondorian forces. Their motto translates to, the blood of the vine, the life of the kingdom. And they have this common saying, our grapes are worth more than your gold. That tells you exactly how they view their position. Their immense power is cultivated in vineyards and leveraged through commerce. It's not won on muddy battlefields with giant armies. They're essentially the ancient equivalent of untouchable tech billionaires.
Heading down to the southern territories, we find House Beaumont, the Zariantian-descended sugar kings. Their heraldry is super striking. You have a black windmill representing industry and refinement, placed right over a sugarcane stalk on a field of gold. But check out the supporters, two elephants. In this specific visual language, the elephants symbolize immense strength, prosperity, and a very long memory.
Dulcis est potentia, sweet is power. The Beaumonts are incredibly pragmatic and cosmopolitan. They fundamentally believe that coin and trade contracts are infinitely stronger weapons than swords could ever be. They don't need to conquer you by force. They just need to completely control the refined sugar trade that you rely on.
Now, what connects Cuppers and Beaumont is their total rejection of the traditional military castle. The Cuppers rule from the old Purple Palace, this ancient structure built out of dark purple-veined marble surrounded by endless vines. Meanwhile, the Beaumonts flaunt their wealth through sprawling, unfortified white plantation manors. We're talking wide-open verandas and ornamental gardens that you can see right from the sea. For both of these houses, their sheer, unimaginable wealth is their fortress.
However, it's important to note that not all wealth in Cyan is so brightly colored. We need to introduce the darker, far more industrial side of the economy in Section 3, Fire, Rum and Chains, Harrow and Blackmere.
And this brilliantly illustrates the geopolitical reality of the South. On one side, you have the elegant golden white of Beaumont's sugar. On the other, you have the deep blue and burning orange of House Harrow. Harrow is the maritime industrial power that takes Beaumont's raw sugar and distills it into rum. The Beaumont-Harrow alliance completely controls the southern economy, linking that agricultural dominance with the very dangerous, fiery maritime distillation process.
Harrow's motto is "From fire, life." They are secretive, fierce merchants who literally boast, "We set the world ablaze," and their architecture matches this vibe perfectly. They inhabit the old Zartian Castle, which is a dark fortress made of black volcanic stone perched right on a cliff. Inside, there are constant fires burning within the distilleries, turning sugar into liquid gold while projecting a terrifying, fiery naval dominance across the waves. We turn now to House Blackmere. Visually, this is a house of stark contrasts. The shield is severely divided into perfect white and black. In the center is a golden chain of 3 links, deliberately broken. As supporters, you see 2 chained figures kneeling beside a black iron gate. This heraldry openly and efficiently displays exactly where their massive fortune comes from.
The motto is, "The bond is wealth," and their common saying is, "Gold binds all." House Blackmere built one of the richest fortunes in Cyan upon the slave trade. They operate as a highly efficient organization. To maintain their position in society, they purchased their legitimacy through enormous donations to the church and deep political influence, operating on the firm belief that everything and everyone's loyalty has a price.
To fully understand Blackmere's worldview, you simply have to compare them to their southern neighbors. Where House Beaumont welcomes trade with wide-open verandas and unfortified green fields, House Blackmere rules from the White East Castle. It is a brutalist, cold fortress located on the Trottian River. It features perfect white stone walls, black iron gates, and minimal decoration. It is architecture designed entirely for administration, strict control, and absolute security.
After the decadence of wine and sugar and the dark industry of rum and chains, we transition to the martial force of the realm in Section 4, the Fighting Saints, House Ludwig.
So the crucial point is how this final house acts as a direct foil to all the others. House Ludwig, much like the royal House Cyan, was originally born from pirates, but they evolved into highly disciplined paladins. Their crest features a red lion rampant on silver, holding a sword and a grapevine, all positioned above the blue waves of their ancestry. The lion is courage, the vine is cultivation. They are a warrior nobility who combine absolute religious devotion with elite military strength.
Faith, courage, wine, they proclaim. We fight, we pray, we plant. Their entire legacy is defined by historical figures like Saint Jonathan Ludwig, a legendary knight and martyr remembered for his military brilliance and his fierce defense of the weak. Accordingly, they don't waste their resources building massive stone walls. Instead, they build fortified manors that are essentially training grounds and chapels surrounded by sugar plantations. They take their wealth and invest it directly into their warriors.
Let's move to Cyan and see how this builds into the broader geopolitical landscape. So you have Cyan at the top with church backing. You have the independent cappers totally defying Gondor. And then you have this critical tension point. Beaumont and Harrow have formed a massive economic alliance down in the south. Right across from them is House Ludwig, who views all of Beaumont's luxury as utter corruption. It's a total powder keg of opposing ideologies, massive wealth versus strict martial piety.
But, despite all their massive differences, every single house is strictly bound by the laws of heraldic display. There is a rigid code here. For example, the tincture rules strictly dictate that you can never ever place a metal, like gold or silver, upon another metal. Every noble achievement has to feature a closed tournament helm representing military tradition. Each house has unique flowing mantling, like Harrow's dark blue with a flame-colored lining, and they all march to war under swallow-tailed war banners. Just like modern copyright law, these aren't just pretty decorations. They are strict, legally binding declarations of law and history.
Which leaves us with one final thought to consider. We've seen maritime royalty, ancient wine wealth, pragmatic sugar commerce, fiery industrial rum, highly efficient administration, and pious military discipline. If these banners were raised today, in our world, which house's ideology would truly hold the ultimate power?